You know, for the last few years, whenever I thought of great performances in a horror movie, Toni Collette's performance in Hereditary immediately came to mind as one of the best all-around performances I've seen in the last few years. But ladies and gentlemen, a new contender has emerged, and her name is Rebecca Hall. Wow. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Haunted Beard. My name is Jake. Well, last night I just watched Resurrection, a new movie that just dropped on streaming this past week, and holy smokes, it is quite an experience. I can't wait to talk about it. Let's get into this thing. So Resurrection tells the story of Margaret, played by Rebecca Hall, a woman whose life is in order. She is capable, disciplined, and successful. Everything is under control. That is, until David, played by Tim Roth, returns, carrying with him the horrors of Margaret's past. Now, the first thing I have to talk about regarding Resurrection, and I alluded to it in my intro, is Rebecca Hall's performance. Because holy smokes, she is absolutely incredible in this thing. Just the amount of emotion and range that she shows is really incredible. I mean, she is, like, captivating. There are multiple moments in this movie where I was just kind of staring at the screen in awe, almost kind of shaking my head at her performance. I wrote down, I usually take a little bit of notes here and there through all the movies that I plan on, reviewing, and there were multiple times in the notes I just was like, her performance is amazing. Her performance is incredible, many, many times. She has a scene about half an hour into this movie where she delivers what is probably close to about a 10-minute monologue where the camera just stays on one shot, a close-up right on her face as she delivers this story. And wow, it is just absolutely incredible. The story is just really haunting and disturbing, but man, just her delivery of it is just amazing. I cannot say enough good things about her performance. She is a woman who, once David's character, played by Tim Roth, shows up, her mental state starts to gradually deteriorate. And the way she conveys just that mental deterioration is really a sight to behold. There are a couple sequences where she is clearly having extreme anxiety and panic attacks. And man, her performance there is... it's just incredible. I can't say enough good things about it. There's a really effective sequence where she is in a mall with her daughter, and the music is playing. That's what you hear. It's just the soundtrack playing as she sees Tim Roth in the mall, and these emotions and feelings come flooding back into her. And it does this really cool thing where, and like very quickly, it transitions from the musical score to the actual live kind of diegetic sound in the mall. And it's just this great sort of audio effect that kind of really sort of captures her mental state and her anxiety that she's feeling, and just the craziness and the panic that comes with that. I could go on and on. I really can't say enough good things about her performance. She is just fantastic in this. Her character, too, is fascinating. She is a person who seemingly has everything in order, and she's successful, and everything is in control, and she has this great life, and then something happens that digs up all these issues, I'll just say, from her past. And her character just has these secrets. And she, as the layers kind of start peeling back to her character, man, it's just an amazing sort of exploration into her. And her character just has so much complexity and mystery and depth to it. And I absolutely loved, again, watching Rebecca Hall's performance of this character. Her performance is amazing, and it's just such a well-written character as well, which... credit there goes to the director, Andrew Semans, who also was the screenwriter on this film. This is his feature film directorial debut, and wow, he is one that I'm going to be watching out for from now on, because if this is just the start, this guy has some really good stuff in store. Now, regarding the story, and I'm not going to get into any specifics because I think the best thing you can do is go into this movie knowing as little about it as possible. And that's what I did. Outside of just the brief synopsis that I read you just a moment ago, that was really all I knew about this movie. I had avoided all the trailers and everything. And the story here and the presentation of the story I thought was awesome. And I was hooked right from the get-go. And just the overall kind of vibe and feel is, this thing is just right up my alley. This is really a deeply psychological thriller with some horror elements into it, and that is maybe kind of my favorite subgenre of horror movie. This thing messes with your mind in all the best ways. There are just things that happen and scenes here that are very uncomfortable and eerie and off-putting and very sort of perplexing and maybe a bit confusing, but in a good way, because it's just mysterious and you're not entirely sure what's going on. And I like movies like that. It kind of leaves you little clues and little breadcrumbs that you kind of got to watch closely and follow and pick up along the way. And this film handles that whole aspect, I think, just awesome. There's a particular scene, and I won't get into anything super specific, where Margaret finally confronts David. And man, this scene is just incredible. There is a look that David gives her that I found really just disturbing, even just in the expression and look on his face. The things that they're talking about, it's still kind of earlier on in the movie where you have still a pretty sort of unclear picture of what's going on, but the dialogue exchange between the two, I wrote down in my notes, what was that? And I kind of felt that multiple times throughout the movie where you're kind of just sit back and you're watching things happen and characters say things and you're just like, you're a little freaked out and you're unsettled and disturbed, but you're not entirely sure why. And you're just kind of like, what is going on here? What exactly is happening? And man, that sort of presentation, those vibes are just right up my alley, and this movie has those vibes aplenty. And the themes that this movie touch on as well are really interesting, and in how it sort of tells its story and deals with this theme. I just thought how it handled it and how it told that story was just really interesting, with things like abuse and control and motherhood, and I won't say much more than that. Again, I'm trying to keep things vague, but man, there is just a lot here to chew on, and the ending is memorable. And I won't say anything more than that, but it left me. I needed time to process this, and I think I still am in a way. I'm still trying to maybe piece some things together and sort of kind of figure out my interpretation. And this is a film that I think will reward multiple viewings. I really can't wait to go back and watch this thing again. I think it's pretty clear, if you haven't picked up on it already, that I really, really liked this movie. I thought Resurrection was pretty fantastic. This thing was right up my alley. I've mentioned before, but one of the highest compliments I can give a movie is that it makes me want to go back and watch it again, and Resurrection did that. So I think for a grade on this thing, man, I'm probably going to be like an 8.5 at least. And I think this thing has a potential of even going higher. And I'm always a little hesitant to go like into the 9s or a 10 out of 10 on one watch, because I think part of what makes movies like a 10 out of 10 is that it holds up on a rewatch. But for right now, I'm going to give it an 8.5, which is really high. And again, I cannot wait to watch this thing again. I think it has the potential of even going higher. So I had an awesome time with this movie. If you like psychological horror thrillers, you got to check this thing out. So those are my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And we will see you soon on The Haunted Beard.